might be cooked as a society and as WWE fans as AI has found its way into WWE storylines. I so wish I was joking, but apparently WWE is now using AI for their storylines. And this is a report that came out today. So WWE has a contract with Writer AI, a platform that has been fed WWE content. Cyrus Kawsari was hired last month as the new senior director of creative strategy. He had previously been with BuzzFeed and won the MMA company. I don't know who they are. And now was taken on by WWE and introduced to the creative staff by Paul Levesque last month. In introducing him, Levesque said that Kawsari would lead WWE's transition to AI-based storytelling and integrate AI into creative services like video and graphics. He said that the shift is inevitable when it comes to creative and pro wrestling. I can't believe that those words are actually being said out loud, that it's inevitable that you're going to have to use AI for creative and professional wrestling. How the fuck does that make any sense? Creative, I don't think that AI needs to be used in basically any creative. I thought when they were first talking about AI, all of those years ago, this would be, to help find studies for cancer, right? Help find cures, write data codes to make it so that these people that do have such a creative mind, it can make life easier for us so that people can be more creative. They can write these more compelling stories. They can utilize their mind because AI's mind is not a human mind. It's never going to be as expansive or great as the human mind. So then it says Kawsari said that he would manage both AI storylines and be a liaison to the White House as Levesque is taking on more duties in politics in some form. So now we figured out why WWE and Triple H want to do this so bad. It's so that he can be with Donald Trump more. I don't ever want to hear a WWE fan when I talk about Brody King's Abolish ICE shirt be like, yo, don't talk about politics. Don't put politics in my pro wrestling. And to be fair, politics is in every sport. I can't believe when people say keep politics out of football, soccer, right? It's the most political sport. WWE has always kept politics around. WWE centers around their content so much with pop culture. Just WWE and pro wrestling in general is so pop culture driven that they're always going to be talking about politics. It's always going to be in there. But clearly, Triple H is having a great time with Donald Trump, wants to spend some more time on Donald Trump's team, and is, outsourcing storylines and Raws and SmackDowns and the final years of John Cena and AJ Styles to a fucking company like Grok or something. I guess it's not technically company. I don't know what Writer AI is, to be fair. And it says, thus far, the AI software has come up with what one person with the knowledge of the situation called absurdly bad storylines. Fucking shocker. They pitched a storyline where Bobby Lashley, let that sink in. So it was last month, and it's Bobby Lashley. You do the math. Did you figure out the math is that Bobby Lashley is in AEW? Because I figured out the same math. Didn't take Scott Steiner to figure that out. Who the AI thought was still in the company could come back as a wrestler who's obsessed with Japanese culture and history. They were going to Lord Tensai him if it was up to Writer AI. If it was up to AI, he's now Tensai. Lord Tensai. That's a huge point that I want to make later on about AI, but let me finish this. It says, the feeling is once bugs are worked out that AI will begin to have a major impact on storyline direction. I don't know if any AI has had its bugs figured out, to be honest. Another promotion previously tested out AI for creative help and suggestions and found it couldn't understand pro wrestling and storylines. Wow. Shocker. Now, you could say that, this is Dave Meltzer, but they've already confirmed it. That this guy has said himself that this is what WWE hired him to do. So what the fuck are we doing, WWE? There's so many things wrong here. I think the first one that I really want to dive into is that it feels like WWE is creatively bankrupt. And this is a telltale sign of being creatively bankrupt. Because what do creatively bankrupt people do? They chat GPT all their ideas, right? To just try to come up with something new. And I think that this year is a big example of WWE falling off their creative hot period, right? I mean, the John Cena retirement tour has been less than enthusiastic, less than stellar, we'll say. Great match at SummerSlam. Great match at Crown Jewel. Love that match with AJ. But most of the stuff has been really, really, really poor. The Vision stuff hasn't been great. It's not even really like on the Vision. It's not on Seth. It's not on Braun. It's not on Bronson. I think that it's on the mundaneness of the storylines. And it feels like it was the same exact thing every single week until Braun just turned. Obviously, Travis Scott being involved in WrestleMania sucked. It feels like they have now just tried to like pull out the nostalgia bag. Deporticus, an amazing YouTuber and a great dude. Love him. Met him. Him and Tally, they're amazing. He had a really good video talking about why he's less into WWE in 2025. And a big reason for that is that he's just now getting into WWE. This is like his second year into WWE, second or third year, right? So all of the nostalgia pops out there. Oh my God. I don't know who's popping for Brock Lesnar, but whoever is, they're popping for Brock Lesnar due to nostalgia. It's definitely damn sure not what he's doing in the ring. Or it's AJ Lee, right? That's somebody that popped for. That's a nostalgia pop. And I think that those are totally okay if those are, used as an extra. Oh my God, it's great that we also get this, right? And it feels like it's used as their creative like backstories is, oh my God, look at this person that you used to love 10 to 15 years ago. And that's their direction for 2025. The nostalgia didn't work for somebody like Deporticus because he doesn't have that special relationship with AJ Lee or a Brock Lesnar or somebody. So you would look to go into, all right, what's entertaining now? What's happening right now that captivates me, that keeps me interested? And there's not a lot of stuff happening. Honestly, I think that it's just like the in-ring product of the women are the thing that's keeping WWE afloat here. And I think that some of the storylines with the women have been really, really good. Rhea and Io and the Kabuki Warriors right now is terrific. I think that even though Tiffany Stratton has been champion for so long, her storylines haven't been great. I think that's really like the in-ring product of the women that's really keeping people watching week to week. And here's a big beef that I have with WWE using AI for their storylines. It's that it will never be unique. It will never be captivating. It will never be genre bending. You are never going to see a story that completely shocks and awes you because AI doesn't have the capability of doing so. This is where a robot shoots me in the head. Now, there's an argument that nothing's new, right? But in terms of the bloodline, in terms of Hangman and Swerve, in terms of whatever best, or Tony and Mariah, right? In terms of whatever best storyline that you want to talk about in wrestling over the last couple of years, right? They pull inspirations from other medias or other things in pop culture and spin them and mold them into something new into this world of professional wrestling. AI doesn't do that. It just copy and pastes. That's why you are going to just get the same storyline with Lord TENSAI back in 2012, and they're just going to go, oh, it's Bobby Lashley's storyline now, because AI doesn't have the capability of creating something new. One could argue that Vince McMahon also had that same problem, but AI doesn't have the capability of going, oh, I know who this person is. I've seen all of his storylines. He would fit this thing emotionally with the fans the best. AI has no knowledge of that. And they won't ever have any knowledge of that. And that's why I think that this is a huge concern for professional wrestling. If AI starts writing the storylines, if we're getting chat GPT-esque storylines, we are cooked. And if I can be completely honest with you guys in this next section of the video, I don't want WWE to fail. I know that there's a lot of people that are really upset with WWE in 2025, and I get it. And I get that they have done some nasty tactics. I'll get to that in a second. And I get that a lot of people are being turned off by WWE. But as a creator in this space, I want not only every company to succeed, but I do want WWE to succeed as it helps out me. It helps out the professional wrestlers. It helps out all of the people in that space because more and more people are finding professional wrestling through WWE. Would I love to tell you that, okay, if WWE was just fucking absolute ass, which it's kind of been this year, that all of those new people that just got into wrestling or came back into wrestling went, okay, I'll just go out and, find AEW. I'll go find New Japan. I'll go find Stardom. I'll go find CMLL. I'll go find TNA. And that the wrestling scene didn't rely on WWE to be healthy. I would love to say that that's reality. That's not a reality. It is just going to be more people that go, okay, cool. I'm going to fucking go off and go watch this other thing on Netflix. Go get into this other thing. Go get into this other sport. And that just leaves less people in the wrestling space. I want the wrestling space to be as big as possible. And for my final point, I think that WWE has been driving a lot of people away due to their obsession with the Maga administration. WWE has shown Donald Trump multiple times at SummerSlam. Obviously, this whole story is Triple H wanting to get more involved in politics, wanting to get more a part of Donald Trump's team. And instead of hiring new writers when you're creatively bankrupt or you're tapped out or you're just passionate about something else, you're just funneling AI into it just to give the most sloppy mess of storylines and care that you can possibly give. That is the worst case scenario. But I don't think that WWE fans are what Triple H and probably TKO want WWE fans to be. They're not this overly conservative. They're not this overly conservative fan base like maybe the MAGA administration is. WWE fans aren't overly conservative, and I can genuinely actually prove it. Because if you take a look at this graph, it will show you the political leanings of various sports. And down here, you have WWE, which now, to be fair, they do have the lowest turnout right here, but skews very much left, right? With the most left being WNBA and the most right being, right here with the PGA Tour. Men's golf, college football is extremely right-wing. NASCAR, extremely right-wing. Now, this was in 2010, and I think that the biggest thing to remember about this graph and 2010 politics is that it's not anything like what it is in 2025. Politics is a crazy different world now, which is why I felt like it was fair to bring up these two graphs here. This graph here from Sportico shows that WWE's fan base is actually 52% conservative. Still one of the most left-leaning fan bases, but 52% conservative. And what I saw in this Harris poll was that they only sampled 4,116 U.S. adults aged 18 and over. That's not a huge sample size when we're talking about the sports political leanings for sports fan bases. So I found one that I think is probably the best version of all of this. And this is the same researcher that did the 2010 study. However, it's now in 2022, and it's of 201,913 adults 18 plus. I think that that's probably the best sample size from June 2021 to November 2022. I believe this came out in 2023, I believe in March of 2023, and we can still see that WWE's fan base, while less left-leaning, is still left-leaning as compared to TKO's other venture, Ultimate Fighting, UFC, right? And I think that this also makes a lot of sense because, this is pretty similar to the 2010 study. There's slight shifts, both left and right. But I think that this shows in what WWE has done in 2025 as they continuously try to add in this MAGA influence, whether it is Donald Trump, whether it is putting more people of political power into John Cena's final match, as it's being reported. All of the stuff that they have done in 2025 with the Tony Hinchcliffe stuff, it feels like it's just kind of turned a lot of just regular people off. I don't know how many conservatives are going, cool, now WWE's MAGA, now I can get into them. But I do think that it has a lot of people just kind of going, Brock Lesnar stuff, getting really, really MAGA. They're showing Donald Trump, during SummerSlam and stuff. You know what? I wasn't super into WWE, or I wasn't super into professional wrestling. I might just be out because they're trying to be UFC and I'm not into UFC. I do think that the people that are into WWE, like myself and many of the others, and probably you watching, we're in this shit for life, or at least into professional wrestling for life. That's our thing. That's our sport. That's what we love. But I think as WWE attempts to get more into politics, they probably drive away a pretty decent majority of just normal fans. And if you combine that with AI storylines stripped of any kind of creative influence, then I think that we are in for a world of hurt. I just felt passionate about talking about this because I think that if we're doing AI slop storylines, then we don't have much left of a wrestling boom period, unfortunately. We might all genuinely already be out of the wrestling boom period, to be honest. So you guys let me know. Once again, always cool to comment some video ideas. I do a lot of bookings. I do a lot of explainers. I do a lot of theories. So all of that stuff is, I'm always down to take your guys' opinion on that. I got a lot of ideas cooking, and hopefully you guys will see them in the very near future. Let me know how you feel about WWE in 2025, how you feel about AI being integrated into WWE and professional wrestling as a whole. And I will see you guys in the next one. Deuces.